Hey there, it's Bill DeWeese, pro voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. So let's talk about first things first. You want to launch a voiceover career, or you want to build and energize a fledgling voiceover career. And so you're focusing on things like your demo, what platform should you be working on or not working on, how do you market yourself, all very legitimate and good questions. However, if we're going to talk first things first, let's make sure you've got quality audio, because it doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how wonderful your demos are. It doesn't matter how great your website is. It doesn't matter how effective your marketing is. If the product that you present to a client, and I'm talking about audio quality specifically, isn't good, it doesn't matter. It all falls apart. And I see a lot of people jumping way ahead, trying to do this, that, and the other, but their audio quality, quite frankly, sucks. So let's talk about that. And you have to keep in mind that when it comes to audio, you really have to start with the source. So the purpose of this video is to talk specifically about software as it relates to making your audio sound better. Software is not a first line of defense. Software is a last line of defense. So when I talk about software, I'm talking about software plugins. There are a number out there, iZotope and Waves and others, that make plugins that can help reduce or suppress noise, that can de-plosive, help with the popping Ps, that can de-ess and take the sibilance out or control how much sibilance you have in your audio, and on I could go. There's something for, the snap, crackle, and pop to take that out. There's something for just about everything. But those are a last line of defense. They are not the first thing that you use to mitigate those problems. The first thing that you have to look at is your space. You've heard me say it before, and I will say it, I'm sure, many, many more times in the future. Your space is where it begins. Begin at the source, the space in which you record your audio. Two things: it has to be as quiet as possible. We all deal with noise. Everybody. If you work from home, you deal with cars and trucks and planes and children playing. And in winter, you're dealing with snow blowers, depending on what part of the country you live in. Or in the summer, you're dealing with lawnmowers, and on it goes. So we all deal with those kind of things. So you have to find the quietest place that you can. And if it's not as quiet as it needs to be, you have to find ways to make it quieter. For me, I ended up buying this booth. This usually is not the first best thing that you should spend your money on, but as you're making money, this could be a good investment. But there are other ways to help block out outside noise, but it has to be quiet, number one. Number two, it has to be acoustically treated so that you minimize the sound reflections of your voice off hard surfaces, so you don't get that boxy reverberish sound. And the purpose of this is not to get into all of the strategies on ways to do that, but of course, acoustic foam is one way to look at that. I have used, and a lot of my students use, moving blankets. They can be very effective. And again, we could go on and on with that. But quietness and having it well treated, those are the two really, really big things. Another thing I want to mention after that is your microphone technique. If you're dealing with plosives, if you're dealing with even sibilance, proximity to microphone, that can play into that as well. So you've got to make sure that you have good microphone technique. So make sure your space is good. Make sure that your microphone technique is good. Make sure that you understand how to use post-processing, whether it's equalization, compression, or whatever the case may be. But make sure that those plugins that take care, again, of the snap, crackle, pop, the noise, the plosives, that's the last thing. And hopefully at that point, you don't even need to use those plugins. But if you do, and we all do to some degree, or most of us need to some degree, make sure that you use those the least amount possible. Again, the plugins, the audio correction plugins, they are your last, not your first line of defense. And if you need to learn more about this, as well as building your voiceover career, I encourage you to check out the link below where you can learn more about my VoiceOver Blueprint career training, coaching, and mentoring program. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. I hope you'll like, share, subscribe, and we will talk soon.